Happy about the way the defense played last week. Thing we got to continue to do as a defense is continue to limit points, and that's something that we've been talking about in our defensive room, all right, for the most part. And also stressing the identity that these guys have made for themselves over the past, I would say, 8 weeks, as far as being tough, being violent, and hunting the ball. All right, and those guys continue to do that. So we want to continue to do that. We want to do it at a high level, and we want to continue to improve with all the young guys that we have, and that's what we continue to try to do. So, questions?
You guys have created a lot of turnovers here during that stretch.
Yeah.
Beyond just emphasizing it, I'm sure you did that early in practice when they weren't coming to. Why do you think you're getting those?
Because I think it's more the mindset of being intentional about it, of understanding who the targets are. And we do have a target. They intentionally try to go after that target. I said this before, and something that Bill Cowher had told me about creating identity. You don't know what that identity is going to be until later on in the season. And the guys really hung on to that. And they know who they want to be, and I know who they want to be. So the things that we do stress, we want to make sure that comes out by the way that we play, but it all starts in how you practice. And our guys have been doing a good job of that.
I think there's something too, like it's ingrained in some. Kirby had a lot in college, right? And he's got a lot now.
Yeah, that's just who he is. That's just who he is. But I would also say, when you're part of a team and that's not you, but everybody else started to do it, you'll stick out like a sore thumb, and you might not be a part of that, So either you get with it or you've been moved out, and guys are really getting with it.
At what point did you feel like, the defense really took a turn? I know we talked about the players only meeting at the hip, but do you feel like that was really a spot where the players really defensively took things to heart and started playing a little better on that side?
I think guys took things to heart. Starting that New England game to where we were playing terrible. And that's not who you want to be as a player. That's not who you want to be as a coach. That's not who you want to be as a defense. We have guys with a lot of pride in this defense. So the players only meeting, that was just something the players did. But when you look up and you see that you're not helping the team, you got to do something about it. And me as a coach, the players, they drew a line in the sand and said enough was enough. And you really saw that, like during that New England game and after that.
Does their offense look different with White at quarterback?
For the most part, you see the same plays. There are certain things that Wilson does that's a part of who he is as far as the read zone plays that most of these running quarterbacks are doing now. The one thing that White does a really good job of is getting the ball out and getting them in the hands of his skilled players, allowing those guys to break tackles and make plays. And you see that's a part of his offense. You see it with San Francisco. You see it with the Jets. And the one thing we got to do a really, really good job of is tackling. They do a good job of breaking tackles. So population to the ball is something that we preach all the time. We got to do a really good job of that.
You started your career with the Jets,
Yeah.
But you also started kind of your second career in football with the Jets.
Yep.
Who gave you that opportunity, and I guess how fond are you of that organization for what they've provided you?
Very fond of that organization. I think you guys have heard me say that before, because they gave me my start in a number of different ways, as a player and as a coach, really as a scout. And there's still some people there that's actually has moved in the hierarchy as far as positions that are really good friends of mine. So anytime I have a chance to go against this team, I want to beat the hell out of them. Even though I have a lot of love for that organization, I really do. But I want to beat the hell out of them.
Who was it that gave you that opportunity?
Mike Tannenbaum. Mike Tannenbaum was the guy that gave me the opportunity. So, and he's still a good friend of mine to this day.
That you wanted to get into coaching front office?
I really did, to be honest with you. I thought I should be this businessman, suit and tie, and that's not who I am. Man, I am a warm up, get on the field, scream, yell, curse, and try to get guys to get better. That's who I am, and that's okay.
How good was it to see Bugs have the game that he had? He's been kind of one of those glue pieces, right? Maybe doesn't jump out in the box score, but does all those dirty things. And for him to get a sack and the forced fumble and the impact plays and then get the game ball, how rewarding was that for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's like, that guy's a guy that that we've been talking about for a while. That doesn't probably get all the praise that he should, but for him to be able to make that play on that stage at that time in the red zone was outstanding for him. You know, so we know how valuable that player is for us. He's found a home. We're happy with him. And I know for a fact that he's happy being here. So we just want to continue to get better, right, with that player and continue to understand exactly what we're doing. And there's just a lot more improvement that can happen with that player. So I'm really excited about that player.
It's like when you said players understand who the targets are, you're talking about players on other teams or situations or both?
All players. Like, who are the guys that we're going after to make sure we get takeaways? And each week we try to identify that. You know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't. Sometimes it could be a surprise player that shows up we get the ball away from. But the fact of the matter is, man, we're after the ball, you know, each and every time that we're on the field.
What did you think of Romeo's debut last week?
Say it again.
What did you think of Romeo's debut?
Love sending him out there. Obviously, he's going to be a little rusty. It was first time coming back. But the more reps he has on the field, the more you see him improve. So I'm glad he's going to get a chance again this week to get out there. But I know he was a little nervous, all right, but he got through it, and it was good to see.
How would you assess the improvement of your linebackers?
How would I assess the improvement of my linebackers? Just like everybody else on the defense improving, which has to happen. Between Rodrigo, between Alex, man, it was outstanding to see JD go out there and make the plays that he did, and especially on special teams. So, man, once one guy goes down, like Barnes went down, man, we got a guy in the line to get ready to step up and go make a play. And I expect that for those guys. And they know that. That's why a lot of times in our meetings, we don't talk about first group and second group. We just talk about, man, we have guys on this team that's going to go play. You know, so if a guy goes down, next guy comes up and he go plays.
We know the way you guys have felt about Alex since you brought him in here, but what's going so well for him?
Nothing's
right
changed
now?
with Alex. Everything that we said before. Great leader, smart guy, able to get everybody lined up. And that's not going to change that player at all. And that's the value of Alex.
Consistency is one of the hardest things to achieve in this league or in any sport. So what is, I guess, the way you prepare for a situation where you guys kind of have to be perfect here to accomplish what you want to accomplish?
Well, there's no such thing as that. So we can counsel that, being perfect. And that's where guys usually mess up when they try to be perfect. I just want guys to go out there and understand what their role is, understand what their job is, and do the best they can at that job. If you do that in practice and let that transition over to the game, that's the consistency I'm looking for. So I'm not looking for a guy to be perfect. I'm looking for a guy to go out there and understand what he's supposed to do and do it at a high level. And if you do that, I'm all good.
What jumps out at you on film from their young wideouts, Wilson and Moore?
Wilson's the real deal. He's a really good player. The Jets did a good job of identifying that player. I think on a number of levels, I would say that he's a good player because he breaks tackles, like one of the better receivers I've seen this year as far as breaking tackles. He's tough. He's taking some hits now, and he'll get back up. And he will reach out and go after the ball. So 50-50 balls, man, you have to be on your P's and Q's to be able to defend that player because he's a hard cover, right? We got to do a really good job making sure we contain him.
We're talking about good.
Where do you see Aiden, I guess, learning on the fly here? I mean, you've seen him not doing some things that he was doing weeks.
You guys ask me that question every week, and I'm going to give you the same. He's going to continue to improve. He understands what his job is. We've done some things to help him as far as being able to make plays. And as the weeks progress, he's going to continue to improve. I mean, it shows the way he's been playing as far as the run game and in the pass game. So the sky's the limit for that player. I'm expecting that player to have a good game this week, just like I do every week.
This might sound like a weird comparison, but is Bam Knight kind of their James Houston in terms of like a young, hungry player getting an opportunity and
Say it again.
fresh legs? I mean, Bam Knight, their running back, is he kind of like their James Houston, like a guy that's been grinding on the practice squad, gets an opportunity, fresh legs?
He's another player that we got to defend. So whatever positions he's at, we're gonna do everything we can to get the best of him. I would tell you that.
He's
Good
5
player.
yards per carry.
Good player, good runner. The thing is, I've been told by other coaches around this league that's played against that team that he's a really tough runner. So we understand exactly who he is. He's no surprise to us. But each week, these guys, come out the woodwork somehow, some way. All right, because there are a lot of good players in this league that doesn't get the chance, but when they do, it kind of shows up, and he's one of them.
As a defensive coach, how much appreciation do you have for Robert Saleh and what he's been able to do in his career as a coordinator, now transitioning
Big
to a head
fan of
coach?
his, really big fan. I love the energy. I love the message, things that he say to his team. And I just love everything what he's about as a coach. So happy for the way things are going with him. Just don't want those things to happen this week against us. So.
Just since Justin had asked you about your time in New York, do you have a favorite draft day memory? I don't know if that was if you would have been in New York for that.
Well, I was.
Yeah.
I was in New York. Crazy thing about it, I never talked to the Jets not one time during the draft process. I actually thought I was going 6 to Tampa because I was in Tampa as far as a visit that whole time, and they told me they were going to draft me. But we know how the draft goes. Actually, I think Trent Dilfer was still on the board at that point. He's supposed to go early to Indy, I think. I think Indy ended up picking Trev Alberts. Don't know why that happened, but no disrespect to Trev now. Don't I know how you guys are. All right, but they picked Trev Alberts, and so I get a call from Tampa at the draft, and they tell me, listen, we have a franchise quarterback on the board, so we got to draft him. And my dad, rest in peace, says, well, you have a franchise corner sitting right here too, though. So, but anyway, then Pete Carroll was the head coach at that time, and I think they had like the 20-some picks, so he traded from 20 to 12, and he came and drafted me. So that's my my draft day memory, and my mom cried the whole time.
Your dad said that to you. He didn't say that to the.
My dad said that just out loud. That's just who my dad was. So I kind of got that from him too. So sometimes I'll say things out loud I shouldn't say either. So.